Perfect. Okay, let's get started. Baby Kitty's with me, and I'm actually in Jersey City today for once for this class. And Baby Kitty really loves Qigong. So as soon as I start practicing, he's right by my feet, and he just wants to. Sometimes he'll go in between my legs, and he's feeling the flow. So, and hi, Carrie. All right, so let's start with some wave breathing. So let's just find a neutral stance, and that usually means about outer hip distance apart, just so that you feel really solid on the ground. One hand on the chest and one hand on the lower abdomen, just below the belly, belly button, I should say. And let's start by slowing the breath down. And on the inhale, as the chest expands, the diaphragm starts to descend, and it actually creates a gentle massage for the internal organs. So if we breathe fully, not only do the lungs get infused with a good dose of oxygen from the air, but the abdominal organs benefit as well, getting a nice, gentle massage. So slowing the breath down, inhaling from the belly up through the rib cage, up to the chest, and then exhale, chest drops, ribs pull in, and the belly pulls in. And feel maybe as the breath slows down, or as we slow the breath down intentionally, that the mind starts to become a little more clear and spacious. And let's put a little movement into this. Soaring eagle. So we're going to continue to breathe in that same wave-like pattern, nice and slow, but incorporate the arms. So inhale, the arms going to just float up all the way up. So the back of the hands come close together. And then exhale, letting the arms float back down on the exhale. So moving nice and slowly as we inhale. And then exhale. And as we inhale and the lungs expand, bringing the arms up kind of helps to stretch the intercostal muscles, the muscles that are between the ribs that really need to expand in order, oh, there's baby kitty, in order for a full deep breath to occur. And the better we breathe, the better our energy is, and the better we breathe, the longer we live. So just thinking about the benefits of slowing the breath down, of really being intentional, of expanding the chest, the ribs, and then a full exhalation, like we're emptying the cup. Let's do one more inhale. And nice slow exhale. Okay, so hopefully you're already feeling nice and calm and a spacious mind. Let's start by starting to go through our spinal cord opening exercises. So let's knock on the door of life. There's baby kitty again. So turning from the hips and the waist, right? We have to start by warming up the body, or else going into flows at the latter half of class, if we're too tight and sort of feeling agitated, then we're not really allowing ourselves the full benefit of the flows. So we start by pressing or knocking across these pressure points to start to stimulate energy. And then we'll stretch and then activate, clear out, and then go into flow states, being a little more, we'll say the cup has been emptied and ready to fill it up with the energy that you want to feel. Let's come up just below the collarbone. Giving those lungs some energy. So the flows that we'll go through today will be a little more metal-centric. Metal, the element that correlates to the lungs and the large intestine. This is also the season of the metal element. Come up to the top of the shoulders. So the metal element correlates to the respiratory system, not shockingly. The lungs, the large intestine, the color is white. And then we'll do the healing sounds as we go through for the metal element, which is that TSSS sound. Come back down below the collarbone. And then down to the waist. And then let's go drop into water waves. So we're still moving and turning from the hips and the waist. But with this movement, we're allowing the hands to trace the space around you. So feeling the airflow between the fingertips. This is a great movement to alleviate stress, emotional stress, anxiety. Just think about clearing the air, clearing space, the energetic field. And clearing away worries. And then let's start to unwind. Okay. So we are going to go into spinal cord breathing. And on the exhale, let's do the sound for metal. So it not only helps, the more audible that we make the sound, it more correlates with the physical organs. The more of a whisper that we use, it impacts more the emotional spirit of the organs, which in Chinese medicine, for the metal element and lungs and large intestine, is grief and sadness, but also inspiration and courage. So let's do this. So on the inhale, let's look up, hands come right by the head. So we're opening up the chest and the front of the spine. And then on the exhale, curl forward so the chin tucks in and the tailbone tucks down. So creating space in the back of the spine. So inhale, look up. And then on the exhale, we're going to make the sound of the metal element. And then inhale. Exhale. And maybe think about on the exhale, as we make that sound, that we're clearing out sort of a stale gray cloud of energy. Inhale. Inhale through the nose. And one more. And And let's pause, let the arms drop down for a moment. Maybe feeling a little more spaciousness in the area of the chest, maybe down the arms. And then from here, what did we want to do today? Yeah, let's do a little spreading the feathers. So actually, let's do some clearing first and then go into spreading the feathers. So let's draw the arms up to the sides and then take a nice inhale through the nose. And then on a sharp exhale, we'll drop the arms. And then inhale and exhale. Inhale. Now we'll turn from the hips and the waist on the exhale. So inhale and then turn on the exhale. Inhale, come back to the center, and then exhale to the opposite side. So it's a turn and exhale. Inhale to the center and exhale to the side. Clearing out either physical tension between the shoulder blades and the neck or emotional tension or stagnation, which often gets all bunched up in those tense muscles. Right? We hold a lot of emotional energy in our muscles, in the fascia, the connective tissue. So we're just using the breath and this movement to help discharge that. You can go a little slower if that feels better, or a little bit faster, whatever feels good for you in this moment. And then we'll start to slow down. And we'll pause. And as we start going through movements that are a little more invigorating, you might feel energy start to flow a little, it's a little more perceptible. We could perceive it more. So let's do a little stretching of the head, neck, and shoulders now. So spreading the feathers, let's start first with the palms facing down. So dropping the shoulders down, feel maybe a little more space between the ears and the shoulders. Releasing any energetic sort of backpack of weight, and then let your head tilt over to the left. Feeling a nice, gentle stretch. You don't need to press your head down. Just let gravity help allow your head to tilt over. And then on the inhale, let's roll the head back and look up. And then exhale very gently. Let's roll the head forward, looking down. And using the breath to guide the movement. Just feeling this nice stretch all the way in the front of the right side of the neck and then the back of the right side of the neck. So we're kind of getting into all those little nooks and crannies and using the breath to help soften, release, and create some flow, better movement of energy. And then on the next exhalation, let your head come all the way forward and then over now to the right. Let's pause. And then inhale, let your head roll back, look up. And then exhale forward. And going slowly really allows space for the muscles, tendons, fascia to get a nice, gentle stretch. And then let your head come forward on the exhale. Drop the arms down for a moment. Close your eyes. So when chi is flowing, you might feel some tingling, some heat, some electricity, and even just a deeper state of relaxation. And we'll do spreading the feathers now with a slight variation. So let's make little bird beaks with our hands. So bring the fingers and thumbs together and then press the back of the wrist towards the floor. So you're stretching now the inside of the back of the arms. And then let your head tilt over to the left. And then very gently, we'll make those same oscillations back and forth. So it just changes very slightly, but sometimes pretty dramatically, the emphasis of the stretch. We're just changing the position of the shoulders and the arms so that we're stretching slightly different muscles and tendons here. And let your head come all the way forward, now over to the right, a few oscillations back and forth. And then let your arms float down. Okay, let's do a little moving the body like a river. Let me just make sure I have. Yeah, let's do moving the body like a river. So wider stance, hands on the thighs. And let's start moving first by shifting the weight. So shifting the bottom half of the body first so that the head kind of rolls over and arrives last. So putting the attention on your spine and thinking about making sort of like a little S motion. So we rotated and knocking on the door of life. We flexed and extended the spine with spinal cord breathing. And now we're moving the spine laterally. Be nice and relaxed here. So if you're a little more upright, that's great. There's a lot of energy being activated in the lower body, right? We're sort of in a little bit of a pseudo squat here. So let this foundation kind of help guide the upper body to be nice and relaxed. Like we have these firm roots that are kind of keeping us grounded, gravity pulling us down. And the upper half of the body can be a little more free flowing. And then making sure that we're breathing. So inhale and then exhale. I have a little cat underneath my pant leg. If you don't see this. And then let's come to the center, hands together right at the center of the chest. Let's first press into the sternum, the center of the sternum. This is a really great point to either use some acupressure with, or we'll do some needles there and acupuncture to help open up the heart, settle the emotions. It's really great to nourish the heart center. So just pressing in with the knuckles of your thumb here. And let's inhale, open up the hands and look up. Exhale, palms come together, chest sinks. And then inhale and exhale. And then inhale and exhale. Okay, let's do a little shaking. Let me get this cat out from underneath my pants first. And we'll do the same sound for the metal element. So we'll shake inhale through the nose, and on the exhale, make the sound of the metal element. And again, imagine maybe a cloudy, gray, murky mist leaving the body on the exhale as we make that sound, clearing stagnation in the lungs. Maybe you had a respiratory illness recently and there's some residual phlegm or irritation. We're just helping to facilitate healing through generating this sound, this frequency. Or any significant grief or loss that you've been going through, this helps. I'd like to use the word transform. So helping to feel and express emotions as we should as humans, and being able to also transform it so that we're able to kind of be inspired and garner wisdom from our emotional experiences, and help guide us forward. And then start to slow down. So the first flow for the metal element, which we've done many times before, is Buddha holding up the earth. And then we'll go into soaring crane, different than soaring eagle. The soaring crane is when we come out laterally and back in. But the standing posture we'll start with lower, embrace the tree. So we'll make a little gentle circle with the arms and the fingers are pointing towards one another. And again, when we go into flows, right, the intention is to move slowly. That's where our power is. That's where we really are able to charge up the batteries. And then really moving on the breath and moving from the center. So thinking about movement really coming from the hips and the waist. So on the inhale, we're going to gently float the hands up so the palms are facing up. Then they spiral in towards your lungs. And then the hands continue to spiral out and then up. And then exhale, the hands float all the way back down. So inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Nice, slow, deep breath. Looking up. And then a nice, slow exhale coming back down. So the channels and the organs that we're working with here, the lung and large intestine, right? The channels run down the length of the arms into the thumb and index finger. So on the top of the inhale, let's spread the fingers a little bit further apart, especially the index finger and thumb. And then soften the hands as we come down. Inhale. And exhale. And inhale. And exhale. So the color of the metal element is a brilliant white light. So with flows, we can incorporate either or, both sounds and color. So let's do this today. Let's, on the inhale, imagine this brilliant white light is surrounding your lungs. The brilliant white light just filling up the space in and around the lungs in the front and the sides and in the back. And helping to generate healing, whether it's physical tissue of the lungs or healing emotion that might be kind of lingering. And then maybe go even more slow. So the season of autumn, right? The season that precedes winter when things go very still and quiet. So this is the time of, kind of deciding what it is that we really need to stow away for the winter. Okay? It's about sort of cutting through the clutter, discerning what we need and don't need, what serves us versus what is maybe holding us back and weighing us down. And as we release whatever it is that is no longer serving us, that we're ready to let go of, that we're infusing the space that's left in its wake with this beautiful white light, inspiration, courage, and spaciousness. Let's bring our hands into our chi ball for a moment. Maybe have your hands about 6 inches apart and maybe close your eyes and just feel the space between your palms. Feel maybe that little bit of electromagnetic sensation, that push and pull. And then I love this question, which Lee had us ask, is imagine when you're feeling the space, ask yourself, what would it feel like if this sensation were twice as large or twice as powerful? What would that feel like between your hands? And you might notice that almost instantaneously creates a pretty big change. You might notice that it actually feels more powerful. And then drop the hands down. And then we'll go into soaring crane from here. So let's start with floating the arms up, out to the sides. Flip so the palms are facing up. Touch the thumb and the index finger together. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bring the arms around in front, thinking the chest slightly. And then on the inhale, flip so the palms are facing down and release the fingers now. And then open up on the inhale. So the fingers are spread apart on the inhale as we open. Flip so the palms are facing up. And then index finger and thumb are touching on the exhale. And inhale. And exhale. So we're still working with the energy of the metal element. This is the space that we're opening up here, the long and large intestine channels, and we're linking those two by touching the thumb and the index finger together as a way of containing. So we kind of open up and bring in, and then contain the energy, contain the chi within. Just imagine that just like a big, beautiful, regal bird is floating through the air, that your arms are like the wings. And you see the horizon, the expanse of the sky, of the land. Maybe feeling lighter and lighter. If the arms get tired, you can drop them slightly so they're down a few inches, continuing the same motion. And as we float and soar, looking down and maybe seeing any worries, anxiety, problems look a little bit smaller and less heavy, and feeling maybe a greater sense of freedom by creating distance and space. And if the arms are tired, you can drop them even lower slightly. So we're still opening up the lungs, but more now the bottom of the lungs. And then let's bring the arms back down into lower embrace the tree for a moment. So postures are used also as a way of containing the energy. Postures are like the embankment, keeping the water contained and flowing. So postures are meant to help kind of contain the energy that we cultivate. Continue to breathe. And then drop the arms down. And we'll finish off with a flow that I love called, since we're on the theme of birds today, baby bird learns to fly. So with this particular flow, the back of the hands come together right at about the navel level. Inhale, the little roll of the spine up. And then on the exhale, the elbows drop, release the hands, and they float back down. So in the inhale, back of the hands come together, the slight undulation of the spine up to about the top of the chest, the elbows drop, and then the hands come back down. So inhale. And exhale. Back of the hands together, float them up, keep the shoulders nice and relaxed. And then exhale back down. Moving fluidly on the breath, inhaling up and exhaling down. Maybe get a sensation, right, that you're moving with such relaxation that when we're moving, it almost feels like the same sensation when you're in maybe a little flotation device on a lazy river, right? You're just allowing the current to help move you. So stepping into an energetic river where we're just putting ourselves right in the middle to be taken along with effortless flow, allowing the breath to guide the movement. And baby bird learning to fly. And in each moment, right, there's a birth and death. There's a death of the previous moment and a birth of the next moment, just like our breath, the ultimate releasing into the letting go. We inhale, we bring in, then we let go and exhale. And in each moment, in each day, we can be like little baby birds or like children experiencing things for the first time with a sense of curiosity and awe, continuously learning who we are, what we want to bring forth, what our gifts are, continuing to flow with ease. And I'm getting all kinds of calls today. Deep breathing on movement. And then on the next exhale, let's bring the hands back down to our chi ball one last time, feeling a space between the palms, maybe pulling them apart, letting them come back together. And feel that your body is infused with that same energy you're feeling between your palms. You've just infused your entire body, charged it up, replenishing, feeling centered but peaceful. Let the arms drop down. And let's finish off with pulling down the skies. Different variation though. Let's inhale the arms all the way up, and then let's bring one hand on top of the other. So they are palm is facing the back of the opposite hand, about maybe 3 inches apart. And then on the exhale, just bring your hands in front of you. So they're still separated slightly, and then just exhale them all the way down. And then inhale. Same thing. Let's stack the hands with space between, and then exhale. And inhale. And just feeling a wave of tranquility washing over you. And let's do one more inhale. And then let's bring the feet together, one hand on top of the other. And let's pause here. Bamboo in the wind. Maybe feeling extra light and floaty, but feeling those roots extending down through the legs into the earth, right? So we're simultaneously rooting down, in order to go up, first root down, and then feel maybe you've grown an inch in the last 45 minutes. Feeling spaciousness and flexibility, inspiration and courage. And when you're ready, you can crack your eyes open. Thank you, everyone. It was so lovely to have you. I see you again. And I missed you, but we're back. And this coming Sunday at the Riverview Farmers Market, it's the first Sunday. So I will be teaching QiGong instead of yoga. There'll be QiGong from 9 until 10. So if you are interested in doing some QiGong out at the park with me, feel free to come on by. Otherwise, I'll be back teaching at the park on Monday again, and then next Friday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
You too. You too.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone.
Bye. See you.